Um, Meeting Christian McBride, I mean, there's so much to be said. I first met him, I moved to New York and went to Manhattan School of Music, and I think it was like the first 2 weeks or so. I was hanging out with different musicians, people my own age. We were all playing and all that kind of stuff. And I remember I was talking to a friend of mine. He was a drummer, and he said, "Yeah, McBride is doing this talk. Like he's doing like a seminar at the Harlem Jazz Museum." All right, so I'm like, all right, cool. He's like, "You want to go?" I'm like, yeah, of course. So let's go down. And so went down. He was doing a talk basically on, I think it was Miles Davis. He was playing a lot of Miles Davis. So he played little examples, talked about it, talked about the music, and so after that, if you know McBride, he's very humble, and he's a great guy to talk to, so he was there just hanging out. And so I went up to him afterwards, like, "Hi, I'm Christian Sands, I'm a pianist, I'm a big fan of yours," and all that kind of stuff. He's like, "All right, cool, he's like, "You're a pianist, huh?" I was like, "Yeah." And so there was a piano in the corner, and he said, "Let me hear you play something." So there's this piano. It had the cover on it, so I uncovered the piano. There was no pedals. There was like strings were missing. It was just like a piece of work. And so I tried my best to play something on this piano, like there's some notes missing, like keys missing. And so after that, I remember his reaction. He was like, "All right, cool." And so like I remember going back to the dorms where I was staying at, I just being like, "Oh my God, this is my one shot of talking and impressing Christian McBride," and I just bombed it. I was just like, "This is horrible, this is horrible." And I know I play better than that, you start to get to yourself, And so, I hadn't seen him since, and then I got a call from the legendary, the great Mary McPartland, and she was doing, her show Piano Jazz, and she asked me to be on it. And so this was a couple years later, and I was like, "Great," and they, because I think she wasn't feeling well, she was under the weather, so she had Christian McBride sub for her. So I met him at the studio. I went him at the studio. I was warming up, and he came in, and his presence was there. He heard his big voice, and just talking to him and just him doing the interview and him interviewing me. It was wonderful. We played a little bit together, which was great. So I was like, finally, in my head, I was like, finally, I have a good piano where I can play something that I hear that maybe he'll be okay with, because that last one was just not cool, And then after that, we met, and it was like, cool, nice to meet you, all that kind of stuff. We did the interview, and then I left. Marcus Roberts was being interviewed after me, so I was hoping to catch him, but I didn't get a chance to catch him. And so I think it was a year later, I was asked by a couple students from Juilliard to do this program that McBride ran in Aspen, Colorado. And I said, yeah, sure, so flew out there to Aspen, and met him there, was playing with this group, and the group was cool, there was a whole bunch of different groups out there, all talented musicians, and we ended up, getting a chance to talk more and to play together more, and just really rap. And that's also when I met Ulysses Owens as well. So we met there, and so and when I met Ulysses, we kind of hit it off right off the bat, like a brotherhood kind of thing, So we started talking, emailing each other, all that kind of stuff, So I left Aspen, and a few months later, I got a call from Christian's manager, Andre Guess, and he says, McBride is doing a week at the Jazz Standard in New York. How would you like to play? And so my mind was like, what? Of course, yeah. But I can't say that. Be like, yeah. I think I'm free. I don't think I have class that day, But I mean, I'm just psyched. I mean, I was just like, I think I was in a practice room, like practicing, and I got that call, and I was like, heck yeah, let's do this, And so he sent the music, he sent the CD. I mean, I'd listen to that CD backwards and forwards, it was on my iPod. I was going to class, listening to it, leaving class, listening to it, playing some of the examples in class. Like, I was like, I need to shed on this, I need to get this, And then we played that first week at the Standard, and I remember those first 2 nights were just so nerve-wracking because, well, the first night in particular, because there was no rehearsal, and there was no sound check. You know, I got there early, and you know, this is the first time I met Warren Wolf was there, and you know, Warren was just muscular and just intimidating, you know, at that time, and you know, he didn't really say much, so and I never met him, so you know, now we're really good friends, you know, but back then I was my first time meeting him. Carl Allen was there, you know, and so these masters, and I was just like, you know, Steve Wilson, and so. You know, I was just so nervous, you know, especially this was like my first big gig in New York City, you know, and then playing with McBride, and McBride showed up a little bit later, you know, like right before the set went on, so I didn't know what we were playing, you know, I didn't know what was going first, you know, I was just like, okay, I just got to be cool, just got to be ready, and you know, just got to just play my butt off, you know, just get in there and just play. And I remember the first night I put everything I had into that, you know, I just all the information I knew, and just bleh, you know. And I remember leaving it like, all right, you know, well maybe next time, you know, I won't play as much, you know. So the next day I played less, you know, and so I tried to like move the barrier. I was like, okay, if I play a lot, this is going to be like, if I play a little, it's going to be like this. So by the third night, I was comfortable, and I had to have this little medium thing of like, okay, this is how the music's going to go. And, you know, and also had words with Steve Wilson, and, you know, talked to them about it, you know, how do you do this, like, how do you play, you know. So talking about mentorship, Steve Wilson, through all those years, I mean, to now, you know, I'll call him up and just ask him questions about, you know, having this kind of problem, or like, I'm trying to think of this for composition or whatever, and he's just always, you know, the answer, I call him, you know, because he always helps me out and bails me out, you know, oh, just try this, or try this, or try this, you know, so. But yeah, that was my beginning of working with Christian McBride. And then after the Standard, we did a whole bunch of other stuff with his group, and then we decided to do some trio stuff, and then ever since then, it's been trio.